What I considered the most important story last year was Square Enix telling their investors that their profits and sales targets for Final Fantasy games and their HD titles were not met. Some people tried to downplay it. They talked the big game. You know how it is. It's like Square Enix is talking. You guys need to all shut up. None of you have actually invested any money into game development. Then why not listen to the people who've actually spent the time, the resources, and the effort in doing so to understand exactly why they feel some kind of a pain that would bring them to this position? The most important story I consider, this is my opinion for this year, is Matt Piscatella going on Kind of Funny Games and giving the statistics of gamers who actually buy games and what the gaming industry actually is right now. If these two stories don't make any sense to you, then I think you probably need to go and revisit them and see what the gaming industry is actually about. Right now, the relationships that PlayStation has with developers seems to be going all wonky. And many of you may or may not realize that this is actually one of their strong pillars, leveraging second, third-party relationships with developers outside of their studios to actually make money, keep games away from Xbox to somewhat remain competitive. And in some cases, do y'all know that these games, they're not meeting their potential? Even a game like Helldivers 2 that beat Horizon Forbidden West in sales and probably smoked Marvel Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, had the potential to pretty much go insane had it gone global. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. I saw this particular post on Twitter. I was actually tagged in it. Shout out to Emmanuel A. Shout out to, let me see my notifications, because, man, people were tagging me like crazy about this whole thing today. I think OP also tagged me on this particular conversation, an article from Paul Tassi. What is this about? Developers for Helldivers 2 say that their next game is going to be free from PlayStation partnership. Now, the developers have come out to quickly say there's no bad blood between us. Don't go getting any ideas in your head, right? We're good. We're Gucci. We're straight. However, anybody who followed that particular story with Helldivers 2, you'll realize that even though they say that there's no bad blood between them, PlayStation almost killed that game's business, and I will dare say their actions jeopardized this game's potential, simply because when they brought the game to PC, the game achieved its highest success rate on PC via Steam. When the game achieved its, real potential at that time, gamers were enjoying the game, gamers were playing the game with almost no holds barred. All of a sudden, PlayStation said, "Hey, by the way, we want a PlayStation account or whatever the heck it is put in this particular thing." Let people need to have a PlayStation account. Well, a lot of gamers, they live in countries where there's no PlayStation account. A lot of gamers don't want a PlayStation account when they play on PC. That's a whole bunch of BS. Some console gamers were saying PC gamers are crybabies. Take your load and go away. Stay in your console lane, because it's the things that many of the console players have accepted that has shaped the industry and the world they live in. On the PC side, people don't want that nonsense. They already signed on to Steam to buy a game on Steam. If you say you want an external account, you better be serving up a game that is absolutely solid. And even with the external accounts, you can almost bet that your sales are going to be short, because ask Ubisoft and EA, nobody on PC is fond of these external accounts. Some may tolerate it, but not everybody. And if it came from PlayStation, even much more. People saying, nah, we're not giving you an external account. In fact, there are people who have blocked PlayStation because of that incident. Can you imagine being Arrowhead? You went with the publisher, and the publisher is doing everything for its own personal benefit, and at the same time getting in the way of your game not making or meeting its full potential. I think that this is exactly why they're saying, we're out. They've just shut their mouths. They've made money, seemingly, enough money to get them by. And it looks like they're going to take that money and they're going to run for the hills. And I say do it. Because, like I said, the most important story last year was Square Enix indicating and signaling that they did not make as much money as they wanted to make or they thought they'd make, and their profits was not where they thought it would be. Paul Tassi writes with Forbes, Helldivers 2 Studios' next game will be free from PlayStation partnership. It sounds like Bond. It sounds like some kind of bondage that they were in. Yikes. Free from? Oh my goodness. Is this Paul's way of embellishing? Be careful, Paul. Unless they said it, let's go ahead and see what's in the article. It says, in an era of struggling PlayStation Live service offerings, some of which will never see the light of day, a bright spot for Sony has been the huge success of Helldivers 2, the ongoing co-op PvE game where players band together to fight bugs, bots, and now rather smart aliens. Now it's been revealed that Helldivers 2 has done so well, the developer Arrowhead's next game is going to be all theirs. And there will be no more PlayStation partnership resulting in one console exclusivity. Here's Arrowhead's Shams Georgiani on Discord. The wonderful thing, and this is a quote, is that thanks to the amazing support of you fine people, Arrowhead's future is quite bright, and we have the freedom to explore some really cool concepts that we couldn't have otherwise. Game 6, our next project, will happen the way it happens thanks to you. The next game is 100% funded by ourselves, so we'll call 100% of those shots. And then responding to a comment wondering about perhaps anything negative about partnership with Sony, which is not ending, at least for the time being. No way. PlayStation are great. There would be no Helldivers if it wasn't for them. I agree. I'm not saying that PlayStation is all terrible. I'm just saying PlayStation got super heavy-handed in this regard, and they basically put themselves in the way of this company making money. It's just the truth. We're open to working with them again in the future, but will we? I will see. They're incredibly game dev oriented, solid partners. I say Xbox is more than them, and this is just me saying it is, not blowing smoke up their butts. So there's no bad blood here. Arrowhead just wants to make the game that is independent, not reliant on a specific deal, which is to block the game from going to Xbox, so they can call 100% of the shots. What this means is whatever Arrowhead's next game ends up being will no doubt launch on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch 2, and the PC at the very least. Though it's unclear how long development will take, so we could be talking PS6, Xbox Series X2, blah, 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 blah. January of this year, their creative director, Johan Pilsted, said, planning and conceptualization have begun on the next game, but again, that suggests that it is very far off. I don't know. I think this is one of those studios that basically under promises and over delivers. I think they're probably very confident of where it is that they're going. This is no ordinary studio. You know what I mean? This is one of those studios that are like, yeah, we're just kind of thinking of what we're going to do, but nah, bro. They know Arrowhead. Bullseye. They do this is an optimal team. They know what the heck it is that they're doing. For them to come out and say, yeah, we're going to go on. These are not jokers, man. These are the kind of guys that seem like, in my opinion, they want to drop a game. And don't be fooled. That game is going to be cooking, in my opinion, in a very solid way so far. Now, whether or not gamers are going to want to play it, we'll see. Helldivers 2 is a sequel to the original Helldivers way back in 2015, but it seems unlikely that whatever this new game is will take another 9 years. Paul, you don't want to bet your money on that. We don't have any idea what it's about, though it's almost certainly not going to be Helldivers 3. In the past, Arrowhead has done 2 fantasy games, Magicka and Gauntlet, and modern shooter, The Shadow Effect. So it's a wide range of possibilities, and now with more resources and freedom to do whatever they want, we should all look forward to whatever it is. I agree. I strongly believe that these studios that are doing good need to make their way into, getting out there by themselves so that they can take risks. PlayStation right now is pursuing and following Xbox. The whole monthly active users chase was just so weird. And I was laughing because I was like, you do know Steam gives you the data as the publisher anyways. Why require another, PlayStation account? Why make it more difficult for people to actually play your game? Why put the game in a position where it's region locked and people can't play the game? What is going on? Perhaps there are business decisions there, but it just really seemed very weird to me. Again, the most important article for 2025 and the most important article event for 2024 are basically what's going to drive the industry. Developers want to basically control their games, and gamers are very selective of the games that they're buying. This is definitely something that anybody who's in gaming needs to take very, very close account of. So-called talking about console war, if you follow any gaming pundit and they're not pointing out how the industry is shifting in these 2 metrics, at least, because there are more, There's a saturation of games. There's the expense and cost of video games. There's the risk associated. There's the black hole games, like the live service ones, that are not allowing for people to basically go ahead and play any other game because that's all they play. But at least if you are following any pundit or you're listening to them, they're not talking about these things at the bare minimum. You're going to be in a bubble that once it bursts, you're probably going to have an adverse reaction because you're not used to the atmosphere that is out here in gaming reality. Thanks for watching. Peace out.